Hello, my mimics, and welcome to another episode of the Mimic Commentary, episode 120. Before we start this episode, I want to say that it is dedicated to a member of our Discord who recently, within the past few weeks, tragically took their own life. He was a very good friend to one of our moderators, Memnock the Devil, my friend Tyler. He posted in the Discord in the Silver Tiers and Support channel, which is a channel you may use if you're looking to either offer condolences or share anything you are struggling with, that his friend Will tragically took his own life. So in honor of Will, of the person he was, of the person he will live in the memory of those who loved him, this episode of the Mimic Commentary is dedicated to him. And the reason why this episode is dedicated to him is because we are here to help Millicent. Millicent has this rotting sickness that she was born into, found in the swamp of Ionia and adopted by Gowry. This rotting sickness erodes her memory. It's causing her just to writhe in pain by herself. You could see that she lost her arm to amputation. A piece of her is missing. A piece of her is missing. Her memories are gone. All she has right now is just this moment where she is in pain. Without this needle of unalloyed gold, Millicent has no past and she has no future. All she currently has is suffering because this outer god of rot has taken that away from her. However, even though she is in this pain, her spirit is able to be sent out into the swamp and attack us. She most likely doesn't know that's happening. She doesn't know that in this current state that she's currently in, that the pain that she's feeling right now, she could be hurting someone else. She has no idea. She has no idea that she can hurt other people like that. And when we found her, she had both arms, and she was able to dance across the rot in this, like, anime-style attack. She's also definitely a parallel to Melania. And what we know about Melania, she's Melania the Severed. She was able to have knights who, despite the inevitable gradual putrefaction of their flesh, fought alongside her. They accepted their fate, and that made the battles the fiercest of all. From the winged sword insignia, it is a talisman depicting a raised prosthetic blade. So, like Millicent, Melania is missing a part of herself. However, she has a prosthetic. She has something artificially created to make her whole and make her complete. An honor bestowed upon the knights who fought alongside Melania the Severed raises attack power with successive attacks. So successive attacks we find frequently in things to do with flowing. If we look at our Raj's Rapier, high dexterity is required to wield the blade to its full potential. But mastery is a sight to behold, characterized by a flowing style, which excels in a successive attack. So the flowing style excels in successive attacks. And when we think of a flowing style with successive attacks, we think of our dexterous warriors with the spinning slash. We think of our nomadic warriors and their nomad cookbooks. We think of our nomadic warriors who wear the blue cloth. The blue color of its fabric symbolizes brisk waters, as fluid and flowing as the sword in the hand of its wearer. Just as still waters turn foul, stagnation leads to decay. Warriors must remain ever drifting, And when we think of stagnation leading to decay, we think of soap, how filth and other accumulations that cover the exterior eventually seeps inside and soils one's very spirit. We look at soap, and we think about how filth covering the exterior eventually seeps inside, soiling one's very spirit. It soils their spirit, this filth. So we need to be kind of like the Blue Dancer. The dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. And just last episode, we learned about the Nox from the Eternal City, who wielded shotels with blades as fine as needles, forged from the liquid metal of a silver tear, and at the core of every silver tear is a larval tear. These are creatures of mimicry. It's the Nox flowing sword, and it has a flowing form. And when we think of the Eternal Cities, we think of starlight shards. We think of fate in the night sky. We think of celestial dew, which is the hidden tears, the hidden night tears that can turn back fate. Celestial dew, a hidden tear found in the Eternal City, also known as a night tear, allows one to carry out an absolution at the Church of Vows, reversing all antagonizations. Once upon a time, the stars of the night sky guided fate, and this is a recollection of those times. And when we think about dew, we have to think about our flasks of crimson and cerulean tears. And what we recently learned is that the scarabs that we find rolling around, they're rolling up clumps of cerulean tears and clumps of crimson tears. And how do we upgrade our tears? Well, we know from our Blessed Dew talisman, we see a drop of sap, or perhaps it's a drop of dew, coming from the Erd tree into a sacred chalice. And we found one of those sacred chalices right here. A sacred tear, blessing of the Erd tree, worshipped in the churches of all the lands. During the age of the Erd tree, these tears were used to spread the faith, for theirs was once a certain blessing. We found that under a statue of America. And Grace led us here. Grace told us to come into Caelid, past the Caelid ruins, past the smoldering wall, then into the swamp of Aeonia, up through Celia, past those who live in death, to come to the Church of the Plague, so we could be here with Millicent. However, America only has her tears to offer, Millicent. What do we have to offer? Well, before we give her the needle, we know that the wings symbolize Melania and her undefeated prowess. Though she never knew relief from the accursed rot she was born into, her blade was forever beautiful and relentless. I recently, before I give her the needle, began reading a book, a jiu-jitsu book called Jiu-Jitsu University, and I'd like to read a passage to you from the beginning of the book. So this is about the author when he trained with Helio Gracie, who was one of the founding members of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Helio Gracie, the 90-year-old warrior. The last time I trained with Helio Gracie was a truly memorable experience, and is to this day the most important class I ever had in Jiu-Jitsu. What struck me most was how Helio addressed me. He did not hold me in awe for my titles or championships, and what he said more than surprised me. He said, "Son, you're strong, you're tough, you're a world champion, but I don't think you can beat me." At the time, I just looked at him sideways in disbelief. After all, how could a 90-year-old beat someone who is in their athletic prime? It was at this moment that I realized how he definitely put all the responsibility on me to defeat him. This is the key to Helio. He never says he will beat you, only that you will not beat him. This is important because he believes he will survive. His survival has nothing to do with perfect timing or strength. Instead, it has everything to do with mastering the defensive aspect of jiu-jitsu. He didn't say he would escape from my position or that he would do anything else. He said he would survive. The results of our training only validated the fact. Helio did survive, and I was not able to impose my game on him. Helio provided to me the importance of survivability and the defensive nature of jiu-jitsu. Furthermore, I took from him one of the greatest lessons ever. It is not enough to be able to defeat all of your challengers. To be able to tell any man that he cannot defeat you is to wield true power. Sometimes it feels like the whole world is up against us, and that we'll never be able to beat it. But we don't have to beat it. All we have to do is survive. And if you survive, then you're undefeated. And that's true power. And some people just need help from others to know how strong they truly are.
Who's there? Well, it matters not. If you are wise, you will leave immediately. My flesh writhes with scarlet rot. It is a curse, not to be meddled with by man.
Give an unalloyed gold needle.
You ask that I stab myself with the needle to quell the scarlet rot. But how? Never mind. I've decided I would rather trust you than simply continue to spoil from within. Would you mind averting your eyes for a moment? Well, that was easier than expected. But why do I feel so...
So after writhing in pain for who knows how long here in the swamp of Aeonia since Melania and Radon fought into a standstill, we come to her, and she decides... Well, first she tells us to go away. She does not want our help. She is spoiling from within with a curse of scarlet rot, and it's better if people just stay away from her. She doesn't expect that we could help her, but we can. We have unalloyed gold. We had the unalloyed gold needle. Unalloyed gold, which is beloved by the Empyrean Mikkel in his youth. Mikkel's lilies are unalloyed gold. We also have what we started with at the very beginning of the game. One of our starting gifts, the Bewitching Branch. It was blessed with an incantation of unalloyed gold. The Empyrean Mikkel is loved by many. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection. Perhaps he was able to compel such affection because of this power of unalloyed gold. Somehow this power of unalloyed gold can ward away the influence of these gods who want us to rot and decay. Or perhaps it's like the gods of fire who want to beguile us. Where is beguile? Fire beguiles those who gaze into it, and so the guardians of the flame are also its worshippers. And like Rajir said, people just want to trust us. And so Millicent did. When we said we have a needle, that if you stab yourself with the needle, it will quell the scarlet rot, she decides to trust us rather than spoil from within. And that exhausted her. So while she rests, let's go explore this graveyard and itself over here, see what we have to look at. Perhaps we'll also find the painting, and then we'll return to Millicent. This is a massive astrolabe. So we know the Celians were out here looking for Starlight Shards. Obviously, they are so interested in Visions of Castle. That tells us... Actually, we can see Redmane Castle really well from over here. It's got a church, similar to the church in Stormvale Castle. Typical Norman design. It has some wooden defenses built on top. We see kind of wooden, I don't know what you call those, like defensive towers up top too. I think our painting solution is also down here. But definitely, it makes sense that the Celians would be studying the stars and trying to capture starlight shards because they're interested in falling stars. And it's looking directly at the castle, looking actually directly over. We can't see him right now, but he's down there somewhere. Our guy holding back the stars. Before we go with the octopi and talk about maybe the significance of the octopi, let's go past this graveyard. Any of those who live in death? Yeah, so some of our Sunrealm soldiers. Let's see, how much damage did we do? Oh, there's a lot of them. Bandits working with the Sunrealm soldiers, which is like so interesting that the bandits are working with them. It makes me think that because the Bandit Curved Sword talked about how they like were a problem during the Shattering, and I really think that it means it's those who live in death bandits. We're not going to take that Spirit Spring up there. We're just going to explore the area. Take a look for lilies and that. Is that more of those who live in death? Wow, there's so many here. Okay, so this is a huge Sunrealm region. And these guys are, you know, they are militiamen. We found, like, and the soldiers. So they must have fought here. Definitely must have fought here. And my assumption is they fought against the Erd Tree. That's why they're coming back. They fought against the Erd Tree. They lost, and now they've come back. So that would mean the Erd Tree Society came through Caelid and fought against the Sunrealm soldiers here. Whoever they may be. We have another graveyard here. And this is one of our... I think it's... Yeah, he's using Cannon of Haima. Oh, goodness. So, makes sense why he... Oh, another Sunrealm soldier. Wow, there's so many of them. Oh, I can use, I forgot I have a Karin Retaliation. Yeah, he's got the gavel. Oh, goodness. So the Celians... Definitely a lot of, what do you call it? Oh no, oh no. Can't cannon that one. A lot of, what would you call it? Of influence in the academy. And choosing to go with the Haima spells to quell conflict. It seems like they wanted to be the adjudicators so they can push the politics in one certain way. So we're getting a direct connection between the two there. And what was he guarding? Beast blood. Why is he guarding beast blood? What does it have to do with blood of beasts? And I know what you're saying. Hey, isn't there something over there? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no reason to look over there. Let's go try and get our painting. Ooh, a Rose's statue. Then after we do our painting, we'll go back to Millicent and see how she's doing. We actually might have to... No, actually it'll work perfectly, because once we get the painting, we will need to teleport. Okay, so we have the beast blood. That gives me kind of Crucible of Life... Gives me, wow, look at that red sunset. It gives me dragons. Oh, a Mikola's Lily amongst the... So these guys... Oh, Mikola's Lily here. So what do we see here from Mikola's Lily? Well, we just have the Astrolabe. We have the stars. The sunset. Ooh, the sunset here is making this red, so we should be thinking blood. Blood Star. Blood Star. We should be thinking of the Blood Star. Ooh, okay. And what do we know about our... Well, these guys drop strip of white flesh, which we're kind of thinking bloodless creatures. So they don't have blood. So since these guys don't have blood, the land octopi... The land octopus eat humans in order to bear young, and theirs is the blood that runs through these ovaries. So, human blood... Human blood came from the Blood Star? Is that what we're getting? Maybe the blood of Arteria leaves comes from the blood star. Maybe the blood from the sacramental buds come from the blood star. What does Mikola have to do with sacramental buds, the blood star, and Arteria leaves? Maybe beast blood too. Maybe it's all the same because this is blood with gold for our blood star stuff. The guilty, their eyes gouged out, lived in eternal darkness. There they discovered the blood star, that eternal again. This also doesn't have any icon behind it, so it's totally tied to prophecy, just like the freezing mist, ice crag, and frozen armament, and catch flame and flame sling. So definitely tied to prophecy. And our big prophecy shield. Here is the polar star, which is gold, but in the blood is gold, so this could be the blood star too. And our other prophecy shield, our big one, the blue-white wooden shield, which shows the polar star, but that could also be the blood star. And then Loretta's bow. So let's see if the octopi have anything. I want their... They have a special drop. Oh, we got a bleed proc on her. The babies have a special drop where you can get their heads as a helmet, or wear their bodies as helmets. All right, this is good. We explore, and then we know there's a catacomb down there. Ooh, and that's most likely where our painting is. All right, so there's a catacomb all the way at the end of the dunes, and out in the distance we could see ships. Perhaps these are the Reedlanders who were trying to come back to their home. And we can see this is a massive battlefield. Same weapons that we saw by O'Neill, Commander O'Neill. So definitely a lot of people were fighting here. No wonder Radon's hanging out there. Okay, well, I think this is the way to go to the painting. Oh, all right, you're guarding the way. This is definitely the right way. We got those who live in death protecting the way. Oh, and another Mikola's lily, right? Wait, is this the right way? Well, you know what? I can't get to the painting yet. That is where the painting is, but I can't get to it yet. And another Mikola's lily. So Mikola wants us to see the painting. The Redmane painting. Yeah, that's it. That's where the Redmane painting is. It's right over there. We could see it. The broken arches right there. All right, to save time, let's just teleport back to the church. Oh, Millicent's feeling better.
I hoped to see you again. My apologies for when last we met. I fainted before I could even thank you. Everything is as you said. Since inserting the needle, the scarlet rot has ceased to writhe. Even the nightmares have abated. And now, though I can scarcely believe it myself, I can move as I please. Not that I could ever truly repay you, but I would like you to have this, by way of thanks. A token though it is.
Ooh. All right, so she's, after inserting the needle, we can see her standing straight up. She's holding where her arm used to be. It's like a phantom pain. Some Metal Gear references. Her eyes, I think mentioned last episode, vividly graced with gold. And beautiful, beautiful red hair. Makes me think of Radigan, red-haired Radigan. Makes me think of Melania. Also makes me think of Sansa, who kind of has an auburn, not red hair, but she does have reddish hair. Also makes me think of Melisandre, who has red hair. Speaking of Melisandre, makes me think of Shireen, who has grayscale, and we could see on Millicent's face, it's very similar to Shireen in A Song of Ice and Fire, who has grayscale on her face. So she's standing up, straight up right now. Better in position than she was. She's still very bloodied. She's wearing a traveling attire that is very similar to Melena's. Very similar to her boots and the undercloak, the clothes that are under her cloak. So she's also paralleling Melina, Melania, and maybe also Marika in some way, because Melina is our assumed reborn Marika. If it's the case, Millicent may also be a reborn Melania in some way, or maybe a reborn Rot. We were thinking kind of like how the Abyss, the Abyssal Daughters from Dark Souls 2, are reborn pieces of Manus. Now, since inserting the needle, the Scarlet Rot has ceased to writhe. So it's there, but it's not moving. So the meddling of the outer gods, it's present still within her, but it's not moving at the slightest. So that's the power of unalloyed gold. It's removing its influence. It's present, but not doing anything. Not only does Scarlet Rot cause people to lose their memories, she said even the nightmares have abated. So what were those nightmares? Was it just dreams? Well, if we think of dreams, we have to think of Saint Trina. But Saint Trina is the saint of sleep. And people search for her in their dreams, but not in their nightmares. If we think of the dream world, some spiritual people theorize that when we sleep, it's our soul or our spirit interacting with the this is actually from a book I read about microcosm, macrocosm, that when we sleep, our soul or our spirit kind of leaves our body and is poured out into the macrocosm. It's poured out from inside of her body in the microcosm out into the wider world. And we can kind of see that. The nightmares she may have been feeling because of the Scarlet Rot and her rotted blood may have been her in the poison swamp, her spirit being sent out and attacking people. That could have been the nightmare. She wasn't really doing that. Now, if she had gold, beast blood glimmers with gold, never rots or decays. So perhaps her blood isn't rotting or decaying, but it just has the rot within it. Has that god within it. It might not be affecting her body. I mean, it did affect her body there, but it might not be affecting her body as quickly. Might be really rotting her spirit. And that's what the most important part is here. And she gave us a gift. The Prothesis Wearer Heirloom. As we look at it, shows two people, one of them with thrusting swords. And when we're already thinking thrusting swords, we think of the water dance from Song of Ice and Fire, where Sirio Farrell, first sword of Bravos, teaches Arya with her needle. Ronnie has the frozen needle, but Arya just had her piercing sword, the needle. And she would have to use this flowing style to poke people full of holes and not get hit. And we see that in the image of the Prothesis Wearer Heirloom. Now, when we think of our other heirlooms, where are our talismans? We have one that shows the two fingers, people praying towards it. We have one showing Radon confronting the falling stars and sealing the fate of the stars, which is why the Sellians are probably interested in him. Again, the falling star beasts, seeds of stars. Maybe the Erd tree is a seed, is from a star seed. But in this one, we see on the left a woman. Kind of, we can't really see anything from the dress, but it's a Prothesis wearer. And we think of the Prothesis, we think Melania. We just have the talisman depicting the raised prosthetic blade. That's Melania the Severed. We've seen this in the cutscenes too, of Melania and her prosthetic arm. And she has her thrusting sword for the flowing style. The person who she's holding hands with, the man, also has a prosthetic. Both of their arms, so Millicent's right arm has rotted off. And the person holding her hand also is wearing a prosthesis. So both of them are wearing a prosthesis here. Melania on the left is wearing a prosthesis, and the guy on the right is wearing it. So let's read this. It's a talisman engraved with a scene from a heroic tale. So this is something that people have told. This is a tale. This is a heroic tale. It could be a legend, you could say. Like the legend of Radon. And just before we continue, when we think about heroic tales, Since times of old, large gloveworts were used to confront heroic spirits, or comfort. Since times of old, large gloveworts were used to comfort heroic spirits, given in tribute to those who died the most glorious of deaths in the hopes their stories would become legends. Okay. So in hopes that their stories would become legends when they died. Let's go back to our charm. Though born into the accursed rot, Melania, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength. So her mentor had a flowing blade. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. The dancer in blue represents a fairy, who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. Okay, well, this legend, this heroic tale that became a legend, it was a blind swordsman. We know it's not about Millicent. Millicent's not blind. Is Melania blind? Is Melania blind? Well, we also have, is this a case of prophecy? Did people foresee? According to myth, these butterflies were once the wings of the goddess of rot herself. Well, someone else called her the goddess of rot. But we found these deep underground. Here, let's put these side by side. The wing symbolizes Melania and her undefeated prowess. She gained wings of unparalleled strength. Though she never knew the accursed rot from which she was born into. Though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade. The dancer in blue represents a fairy, who in legend bestowed a flowing blade, bestowed a flowing sword onto a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. Nox's flowing sword, a grim weapon wielded by the swordsman of the Eternal City. This shotel has a blade as fine as a needle. Frozen needle. Forged from the liquid metal of a silver tear, is thoroughly tempered till hardened. Skill, flowing form. Now we have a few options here. Melania doesn't look blind in this, so... If Melania were blind, we would have like a 1-for-1. Well, the legend of the Blue Dancer is really just Melania and her swordsman and her mentor. But we don't have to... Oh, she actually has a prosthetic leg, too. Definitely Melania. What's interesting is, since he has a prosthetic arm, he's mirroring Melania, teaching her how to fight with also a prosthetic arm. He is most likely, Melania's mentor, is most likely a Nox. Melania's mentor is most likely a Nox. With a silver tear weapon from the Eternal City. This flowing weapon, this is a Nox flowing sword. So it's 1-for-1 right there. And although this one cannot turn into, let's equip it and do our Urmarim again. Urimi, which is the night folk, which means Nox folk. It can be turned into a spear. Oh wait, I don't want to do that. So this, flowing form, sharp as a needle, and this, like a spear, also like a needle. Okay? So, the Nox plot also has to do with making sure Melania is strong enough, perhaps, to fight Radahn. What were we using? I think we were using Marika's Scar Seal, and then Erdtree's Favor. I guess I could do both of... We'll do the stat bump, and then we'll just wear Dragon Crest to offset that stuff. What do our stats look like? Yeah, those are high stats. Most likely Melania's mentor is a Nox. And the Nox are doing the Noxian plot and also the Eternal plot. If Melania is not trained, if she's not mentored by the Flowing Blade, she won't gain wings of unparalleled strength. If she doesn't gain wings of unparalleled strength, she won't be beautiful and relentless and be undefeated. Melania and her undefeated prowess. Remember, it is not enough to say you can beat any man. But to say that no one can defeat you is true power. So Melania gains this true undefeated power from her mentor. She is suffering from rot, but her mentor shows her how to fight with a flowing sword. She must remain ever drifting. So he's teaching her, essentially, to become the legend of the blind swordsman. Live like the blind swordsman. Move like water. Be as brisk and flowing as the water. Fluid, that symbolizes brisk waters, as fluid and flowing as the sword in the hand of its wearers. Just as still waters turn foul, stagnation leads to decay. Warriors must remain ever drifting. So, Melania, in order to become undefeated, you cannot let rot you cannot stagnate and stay in one place. You need to keep moving. You need to fight. You need to survive. And the only way to survive is to keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving forward and keep moving forward. You will survive if you keep moving forward. If it's a little or it's a lot, as long as you keep moving, no one can defeat you. Not even an ancient god of rot, who is sealed away, it seems, inside of Melania and Millicent. So this, if we can we have to find this, we gotta find people who are blind. I mean, we're blind. We're blind swordsmen. But we need to find people who are blind to figure this whole thing out. So it looks like the eternal plot we need, and since Melania now has is undefeated because of this, because the Nox interfere, or because the Nox went to one of Marika's daughters, because she's a demigod, and taught her this technique. When the Shattering came, she was able to fight Radahn into a standstill, and then destroy Caelid, turn Caelid into this rotten wasteland. And then Commander O'Neill found the needle. And Grace pointed us to bring that needle to Millicent. So if it wasn't for Melania's mentor, neither us or Millicent would be here right now.
I'm considering leaving. On a journey. With the needle buried in my flesh, I've started to recall, but dimly, my destiny. It's all thanks to you. My name is Millicent. I pray fate permits us meet again.
So fate, destiny, thanks to us. Thanks to us. Her fate and her destiny can continue. We are important for her fate and her destiny to continue. We're gonna upgrade our flasks. Let's see what spells we got. Can I use anything since I'm at 31 that I couldn't use before? Let's check. Oh, what about Night Comet? Can I use that yet? 38. Ay, ay, ay. Anything that's like high up. Meteorite stinks. Great oracular bubble. Maybe I should put the bubble on. Yeah, let's bubble it up. Oh yeah, alright, we need some more intelligence. What about incantations, any high-level faith spells that we can use. Almost at 34 there. These seem good. Let us level up. Oh, but do we want strength? You know, we're going to keep these all flat. We got to get these all to 22. I didn't upgrade mine. These are odds. Let's make this even. And we'll add one of those flasks there. So thanks to us, thanks to the Nox Swordsman, Millicent's fate can proceed. So can ours. Where I get beat up by some pests. They can bleed too. I just wanted to fight them. There was no reason I had to do that. Oh, this is actually really great game. Great level design right here. Look at this. We leave the church immediately. And we get the path to point us this way. All right. Next episode, we will continue on this way. We will look at... we have some of our chanting bats in this ancient area. We'll continue on the Mimik commentary. Remember, you're never alone, even though it sometimes feels like you are. And as long as your heart keeps beating and you keep trying to move forward, you will always remain undefeated. All right, everybody. You know the drill. Let's do the thing.